coming. All right, we're live.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm gonna start the slides so everybody gets some background. Hello, this is sunny Zhang coming from Houston, Texas. All right, are you guys hearing me okay?
Yep.
All right.
Yep, loud and clear.
Yeah, welcome to the Born Global Community Climate Tech. This is our inaugural event in Climate Tech. I really am excited to see everyone joining this morning. This is 8 o'clock Central Time, and I think our friends are joining from Asia, Singapore, Taiwan, different countries. Please let us know where you're joining from. Drop your greetings and your LinkedIn profile in the chat so we can connect, because the spirit of the session is open innovation. So a quick introduction about why we're doing this. So essentially, I am the general partner at the Born Global Ventures. We are an investment venture capital firm focusing on early stage tech startups, especially led by immigrant founders and international founders. And we started the Born Global community as a global network and a nonprofit organization to encourage open innovation. Because as you see, we really believe the world is a galaxy and not just a star. So we want to, the mission, the core value of this organization is to bridge gaps, close divides, and cultivate the galaxy of global innovation. So as you see, we want to bring all the ecosystem partners together, and specifically as an organization, our mission is to propel diverse entrepreneurs and investors with a global mindset and to interconnect local and international innovation ecosystems. We're very committed to building the galaxy of global innovation with a focus on startup development, venture investing, digital media, and network expansion through thought leadership, educational programs, and community building. So a little background, we started the Born Global Summit during Houston Tech Rodeo 2021. We have a lot of friends that's been joining us from the very beginning. It's really good to see all of you today. And we are also making new friends along the way. And what we're currently doing is starting the 2.0 phase, where we're going to have more in-depth conversation based on tracks. And today, we're very excited to introduce the climate tech track. And we did a lot of research on how are we defining this track. And Jessie and all of our distinguished speakers will speak more about it. I'm not going to get into all these details, but just wanted to give a little background, because it is really a comprehensive area, but very, very important area. As I mentioned, I'm joining from Houston. We're going through energy transition from the capital city of Energy 1.0, the world's capital of oil and gas, so-called Energy 1.0 to 2.0, 3.0, 4 and 5 down the road. So essentially, if you look at the climate tech innovation hype curve, it involves so many different pieces. And that's the reason today we're starting with Smart City, because it's also a very great context for us to engage in this open innovation conversation. So this is the spirit of open innovation, and we're very blessed to have Jessie leading this track. And I'd like to give a quick introduction of Jessie's background, and then I'll hand over to Jessie to continue today's session. So Jessie is the partner of WiseOcean.Tech, and she's also been a strong supporter of the Born Global community since the very beginning. And she connects interdisciplinary knowledge networks for open innovation, help startups and scale-ups build up the growth journey through global strategic partnerships, coordinates collaboration between startups, scale-ups, strategic investors, ecosystem partners, and enterprises. Jessie is on the executive board of IEEE Industry Connections Community, IEIELE, and works on corporate and international engagement. So, you know, we've met both online and in person throughout this journey, and we really connected. And I am super blessed that Jessie is taking the lead for us to engage in more in-depth conversation, starting with climate tech track, and we are also going to be introducing other tracks, for example, fintech, blockchain, education. And we really believe all these different domains are interconnected because, as you see, smart city itself, right, is a very comprehensive application setting. So with that, I am going to pass on to Jessie so she could introduce everyone, all the distinguished speakers in today's panel. I am really honored and blessed to have you all joining us. And I also wanted to emphasize, as you see, the first image on the row of speakers is actually you, the founder of startups and companies. The reason is we want to cultivate this open innovation platform, and we are founder first. We want to support entrepreneurs, and in fact, all the investors and corporate partners are here to support you. So don't be shy in the future. We will be emphasizing more and more on you know, bring you up to the stage, which also is not in the pitch competition kind of format, but really in a supportive way for you to share what you're working on. You could, you know, also feel free to share your asking, and we're here to support whether you would like to connect with corporate innovators, or if you want to connect with investors, suppliers, customers. We are here to bring the world together, regardless of where you're joining from. So I am going to, you know, get myself into the chat while Jessie take on the stage. We're excited to bring up all of our speakers, but we're also going to feature startup founders so that they can present their companies for feedbacks from our distinguished panel. And with that, I welcome everybody to be part of the Born Global community and look forward to seeing you around. We have a Slack channel that will allow us to continue the conversation after today's session, so that, you know, I'll send the invitation to the chat for you to join. Thank you, everyone. Jessie, you're up.
Hi, thanks so much. Sunny had given very good background introduction. So really, there are too many investor pitching events. And I think the pitching event is only asking for money, but all companies need more than that. Big or small companies, they all need ecosystem partnerships. So about half a year ago, I joined Sunny's meeting. I was touched by her philosophy of inclusivity, and when you facilitate the share and ask. So that inclusive and global-minded spirit is the basis here. And our panel focused on a touch of collective intelligence from thought leaders, like today's panel speakers. So each event will have a scope of topic, like today's topic is smart cities. Accordingly, thought leaders will be invited for interview to give a big picture, and also to interact and give feedback to presenting companies. So the first half of the meeting will be the panel discussion. And the second half, today we have 2 companies presenting. And then after presenting, Q&A, and after this whole hour, people are welcome to stay and enter breakout room with today's presenting companies for a deeper conversation. The purpose of the track is venture building. So we will talk about not only emerging technology, but also market opportunities, business model and feasibility, scalability, and also open innovation ecosystem strategy. And hopefully we can shine a light on how to align making profits and making real impact. And according to data from Climate Tech VC, dry powder in climate tech is still at history high now deployable investment funding, but some investment decisions are crucial for creating real impact. So it really takes a village to grow a company to tackle a problem in climate change. I hope you find some villagers in here for your company's village. Today we start this track with digitalization, optimization, and AI automation related. We have a council to discuss topics and speakers. Feel free to suggest topics or speakers and join Born Global Slack to connect. Okay, let's do the introductions for today's panel speakers. Manminder Takhar, Manminder Takhar, right?
That's right.
Thank you. Head of Digital Cities Solution, Dell Technologist. He leads the team developing Dell's Smart Cities platform. He has 12 years experience in smart cities and 10 years experience as a solution architect in HP and Siemens. He is based in Singapore. And Zhang Lockhart, he is lead sustainability technologist of digital cities at Dell Technologies. He focuses on North America, and he drives green and sustainable digital innovation trends, leading to intelligent AI orchestration and automation for integrated operations and platforms. He has more than 10 years experience in Dell. Overall, he has a career with branded experience in technical marketing and business development. And James Chiao, he's the chairman of Taiwan Smart Solutions Association, smart cities advisor for several renowned organizations such as World Bank Group, European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, and others. Before this, he has a very long years career in New York government agency, leading big scale government projects of transportation and more. And he has been advising private businesses after their career. And Spincer, co-CEO of Gorilla Technology. He's a founder and CEO of Gorilla Technology Group, a 23 years old company, just went public on NASDAQ this year. Headquartered at Taipei, Taiwan, and with regional operation centers around the world. Gorilla now specializes in edge AI for video analytics, used in smart cities, smart airports, smart buildings, etc. Welcome to today's panel speakers. So let's get to the panel discussion. We know that cities generate around 70% of global carbon dioxide emissions and 75% of global energy use. So this is an important component, crucial component for this global warming issue. And the first question for our panel speakers is, what do you see? What is or are the major driving forces and investors, public or private, in pushing smart cities toward the path of real zero emission? Can I invite James to give us a beginning remark on from his experience with a lot of government agency and public agencies?
Sure, thank you very much, Jessie, and all the distinguished speakers and investors. This is the fourth video conference I participate today only, right? So I think that signifies what's happening. We're talking about the smart city because the China-US trade war, because of the pandemic, because of the logistic nightmare that we experienced the last 2 years. right? So this bring out the contactless economy, basically because of pandemics. And we change in-person meeting to this kind of video conferencing. Actually, we bring the world together much more closer than before the pandemics. The contactless economy that bring out because of pandemic, bring out lots of new technology that was not really ready to the real world, but we are using every day, including the video conferencing, including the autonomous vehicle automation and no-man operation. A lot of the new technology being used in government and business. Maybe I can share with you the same topic that I talked to the mayor of Cebu of Philippines. I was invited to speak about the future of the cities in the largest, they call the Tomorrow City Transformation Summit in Philippines annual event. So they asked me exactly the same question we're talking about here, but from the young people, what students can do to facing the digital transformation, the smart city, or the net zero. I think that the challenge is everything is changing, even the way of change is changing. So as we were talking about, it's not really the technology. We are talking about is the mindset, is the ideal, is the solution. We are not using like traditionally all the hardware companies trying to sell their server to the mayor, say, okay, if you buy my server, your city will be smarter. And that has been the way it is. Of course, we need to buy hardwares. However, if we are talking about smart city, we need to talk about smart solutions rather than technology. So if you look at the European, their statement about smart city, there's no one word about technology. They are talking about climate change. They are talking about humanity. They are talking about livable community. They are talking about net zeros. They are not talking about technology. So smart city is not about technology. First of all, I think that's maybe a misunderstanding of most of the people. We're talking about technology. Technology is a given. However, technology cannot help us to make us smarter, cannot make our climate change, address our climate change. We need to put a solution together. That's where it comes into what we're talking about today. For example, about this contactless economy, we can use, I call it RVR technology, reality, virtual reality. It's kind of metaverse technology. We can use a remote first-person angle to work in a remote work location without traveling. That really saves a lot of carbon footprint because we can work in the very remote areas with a new technology. So we are using the new technology to address all kind of issue with a contactless economy, with international collaboration. So I'm actually trying to promoting a new business model. I call it Blue Ocean business model because of the pandemic, because of new technology we apply in the smart solution. That means, for example, Taiwan is very strong on IoT, but not only that, Taiwan is very strong on smart solutions. So that means we use a solution with AI, with the chips, with contactless economy, with a 5G private enterprise network. A lot of things that only can be designed and played in Taiwan. However, that's very difficult. Now, many countries come to Taiwan, ask Taiwan manufacturers go to their country, including Saudi Arabia. They ask Taiwan to build a semiconductor plant in the desert. Everybody wants to build manufacturing in their own country because of the pandemic, because of the trade war that everyone experienced in the past 2 years, right? So that is not going to happen. So what happened will be a new business or international collaboration. That means, for example, using a Taiwan smart solution. However, working with our local partner and global international cities, help them to build the manufacturing. And so we can work together rather than traveling, rather than to build a new manufacturing from Taiwan. So I think that's my share of the idea to all of you. That means we are going to see increase in joint venture internationally. So that means there will be opportunity for investment, for the light investment, with a light capital investment. However, to achieve localized solution, I call it globalization. We view globally, but we invest and work locally, because all the solutions need to be localized to comply with the local certification of communication, safety, and user requirements. So that's what I want to share with you. There's a lot of opportunity with a blue ocean opportunity on the smart solution in the future, with a copper net zero requirement particularly. So that's my share at this moment, particularly from the government agency perspective. I think when we talk about international collaboration, we need to focus on the different culture, different requirement, different process from different government agency. So most of us, if we work in the private sector, and we really don't know that what will happen in the different government agencies. So that's why we need to pay attention to work with a local partner to achieve that. That's my part for now.
That's a very great opening for our discussion. And I think James already covered our second question. So I'd like to invite other speakers to cover both questions at the same time. From the major driving forces of change and investments trend, and also give us a high-level advice about all this, and also how do you look at this from several perspectives: technology, problem-solving method, and coordination, collaboration, and also this ecosystem perspective. And give us some of your success story. How about Dell Technologist? We have two speakers from Dell Technologist.
Sure. So maybe I'll just start first and pass it over to John. But just to share a little bit on, I think Mr. James spoke about it's not the technology, it's the outcomes which the cities need. And that's really the truth, where the cities need the outcomes to be addressed, and technology is just an enabler for it. Of course, coming from Dell, our approach to this is to come up with solutions which can address the outcomes which are needed by the cities in this case. And it is being driven by the various needs which are coming in through the climate change, the regulations, etc., which cities are driving towards. So if cities want to achieve a certain objective or a goal on carbon reduction, the data needs to be measured. And to do that, you need solutions, etc. Mm-hmm. And in the smart city space, if I could just share one slide, our approach is to, what you can see in this is to work with partners. So have a partner ecosystem, which we work closely with and come out with solution offering in the various verticals. What you can see here is safe city, urban mobility, citizen health, green and sustainable, and eGov. So green and sustainable is a key pillar which addresses the climate change goals, which are around the net zero carbon growth, etc. And for this, this approach is to address the outcomes which cities want to achieve, and to address that is to have a global as well as a local partner ecosystem to build out the solutions as well as implement them. And it really requires us to work hand in hand with all of them. Maybe John, you could also add your inputs here.
Yeah, absolutely. First, thanks, Jessie, for organizing this. This is a great event, and I really enjoy the title, the fact Born Global. I mean, it really represents the fact that as humanity, we all need to come together to try to make a difference. And so to add a little bit of additional information based off what kind of Manminder said and kind of what our approach is, as James mentioned, it's not about hardware. It's not at all about hardware. It's not really an IT discussion. And oftentimes we get brought into conversations where, hey, I need to solve this particular problem. And they're a little bit surprised because the approach is very simple. Why? Why do you want to solve that problem? What is the end goal? What is the outcome that you're trying to drive? It turns out that leaders that usually have a business sense or a citizen-centric sense often are the ones that have the outcomes in mind of what they've promised to deliver. And we work together collaboratively, both with partners and ecosystems, to try to identify what those are. And in some cases, it is coming from the top down. Right? But in other cases, if you look at what can we do, for example, as we approach kind of buildings within cities, for example, they consume more than 40% of the energy that's, or the carbon footprint of a city. Now, if we can take and make that more operationally efficient, we can actually create the environment that will continuously develop and evolve to a state where we can achieve that actual net carbon zero. Now, there's a lot of other characteristics and steps that go along the way. Things that are really critical to this are both citizens and the communities itself. We look at sustainable living, enhanced business climate, as well as citizen well-being. Now, these all together really answer kind of that first question. There's a lot of major forces that are driving it, but at the same time is how can we improve citizens' lives while simultaneously really reacting to the green and the carbon producing elements that are contained within that city environment. Now, secondly, when we look at kind of the advice and inspiration to answer the second questions was one of the cities that we've worked with, one of our use cases, a city out of Delft, Netherlands. And they had a challenge with an upcoming plan that would really enable the city to target and try to achieve this net zero. And they were trying to figure out ways to do it. The key challenge was really determining how to leverage the existing infrastructure on a more green and sustainable way while examining the different elements, things like the roadways. And they also have a lot of waterways. Now, this is unique to Europe, but in a similar context, all cities can evaluate what's available to those cities in a way to solve that. They found that the waterways were underutilized. And because they were underutilized, they could actually leverage an electric cargo fleet carrying system that would offload the types of deliveries and things that were goods from the main roads that people traveled on, and use an electric cargo system to actually drive and transport goods throughout the main part of the city. In doing this, they actually were able to actually reduce overall the carbon emissions and the greenhouse gas emissions that were coming from vehicles while implementing a kind of an electric cargo fleet to deliver these goods. So there really was a lot of wins in this. And as we look at a way to really accomplish the goals, there's a lot of contributing factors. It will be in technologies like, Spincer mentions, there's a lot of great things that Gorilla Tech is doing and how they tie in. But one of the biggest challenges we see within cities and within smaller communities is that there's a lot of different government departments, a lot of different data sets and data sources that really haven't all been brought together holistically. And so one of the frameworks, one of the cornerstones we worked on is how do we do that? How do we allow systems that normally disparately do not talk together but perform certain functions, drop into a level playing field and start to interoperate so that they can derive intelligent results from that? So there's a lot of work to be done, but the fact that a lot of companies and events like this are coming together, we're going to be able to achieve this carbon net zero as the future goes on. Back to you, Sunny and Jessie. Thank you.
So would you like to talk more about Dell's success stories in this and your open platform?
Yes. I guess, I don't know, Manminder, do you want to add any to that on the open platform?
Well, our approach is as I shared, number one is we work with an ecosystem of partners. Secondly, when we talk about an open platform, we talk about working with the partner to ecosystem to have a horizontal platform which allows data from various different silos, which could be within the city or within the buildings, to come in and present a single pane of glass view of the information, which helps in decision making, right? So when we look at energy aspect, it's not only just understanding where is the energy being utilized, but also being able to understand where are the people within the building, etc., which helps you then to optimize the utilization of the energy within the building. So having a horizontal platform which brings all the data together, like John mentioned, and gives you a single pane of glass view, that's the approach of digital cities within Dell solution context, right?
Yeah.
Hope that helps.
And I can add a little bit more color. As a use case example, Dell actually, we did a Dell on Dell story based out of India. And we've got 9 different buildings that operate across the nation of India, in Chennai, in Delhi, and actually Bangalore, Mumbai, et cetera. And it really, we kind of the challenges of how do we demonstrate a carbon reduction footprint? What can we do differently? And the first thing was to optimize energy efficiencies within the buildings. They all spoke a different language. There was all different building management systems across the board, but we brought in a single vendor that actually allowed through APIs to really connect and translate those languages. The second thing is we put solar panels, and this is like a vertical add-on to across every building on the roofs. It turns out we generate on an annual basis with all 9 buildings together enough power to power 400 homes. Which, okay, now I can demonstrate something. The second thing was harvesting gray water, right? The water that goes into a building or a campus structure, we're able to, rather than just push it all back out through waste and other mechanisms, do some limited filtering, collect some water from rain, and turn that into gray water for plants and other things that don't require, super sanitized water. Now, a third element was the solid waste side of it. Right, all of us know that there's a lot of recyclables on site within either a building or kind of a multi-building site. It could be an industrial park, it could be a university or campus, it could be a manufacturing complex. But there's a lot of waste that's actually produced, and if you can come up with mechanisms to actually turn that into something productive, you're reducing the amount of water that's required. It's really hitting all the elements of that. And we've done that within this environment. They shred plastic bottles, for example, as opposed to crushing them. This gets a density of anywhere from 10 to 50 times and reduces the government's workload of, how much waste do they pick up per haul. And again, each one of these steps is really kind of more on the bottom-up approach. Rather than government policy doing it, what can we do at a corporate level, at an enterprise level, and leveraging our ecosystem of startup partners to really come together and deliver these results? So now, apologize if I carried on too much, but really appreciate the opportunity to share that example with you guys.
Yeah, great. Thanks so much. Yeah, great sharing. And I'd like to invite Gorilla's CEO, Spincer, to talk about his experience. He has not slept for 48 hours. I really appreciate he joined us.
Don't mention it. All right, Jessie. I think all the speakers give a pretty good speech, and our experiences from technology coming, especially from AIoT, or people say IIoT, right? Intelligent IoT, all the way to big data. But why are we doing that? We also look into different communication security stuff. So where are we coming from, and how do we approach, and what kind of a problem we're encountering, and how we really solve the problem? I would not say we know a lot, but at least we've been doing from security all the way to transportation, and then to building, to industry. And I would not say it will be a complete solution, but at least our solution is based on the Edge AI, which means start from the devices. When we say devices, it could be camera, it could be IoT devices, regardless is the sensor we just mentioned about for environment, PM24, 25, and carbon oxide, heat, whatever. Even something is stable is the visibility, and so forth. And interesting is people started to get really interesting question, but not everybody talk about a smart city. But when you look into it, everything tied together, right? Because the city is a combination of different kinds of stuff, from people, vehicles and the things moving, not moving, and then of course, including those objects or subject which we care about it. It could be the logistic, it could be the sense generate logistic. So every industry or government are looking into different respects to solve their own problem. And zero emission is kind of a goal, but that's one factor they're looking into. But while they are in a way to understand how to use the technology or digital transformation per se, and to really understand what digital transformation means, because my experience on this industry for about 30 years, we started from IT, but more of it, once we go to a smart city or digital city, OT is operation technology is something we cannot deny. We cannot just ignore. The operation technology normally is because of the IoT, right? And everything's connected. But the problem is every devices we've been encountering have a different operating system, different platform, different computing platform, and then different data format, which is not unified and has not been unified at all. So everybody talking about we got an IoT platform, we want to collect the data, but the fact is, even the data itself is not unified. It's like not like the IT system. So what we've been encountering is, okay, to bring meeting up the different devices or different camera, different locations, get all the data inside, and which people want to see, want to hear, want to touch, want to smell, and to bring it in, and then in tidy basis in the location basis. So all the data put together, not on the cloud because it's too slow, and the transmission of it is also a problem. So because it happened right there, right on the device, right on the location where the event happened. So the sensors and devices or cameras or intelligence, everything come into part at that time at the location. So that's where the edge is, right? So the challenge, like I said, all the devices have different computing systems. Even though we say, okay, the technology cannot solve everything, but that's a fundamental because that's where all the sensor is, from hearing, seeing, touching, smelling, testing, everything. So that's been there from the analog world all the way until today, IoT bringing digital world, but it's completely different infrastructures and the computing platform. And the data generation is different, there's no uniform format. So the challenge is every single client, we talk about it from central government, federal security, city transportation, airport, port, railway, industry park, science park, which is different because the different industry, everyone has a different issue and then everyone wanted to solve a different issue. But the problem is very interesting. It's kind of divided into 5 different layers. The first layer, we call device layer. Second layer is the data collection and the digitization layer. Third layer is the data aggregation at the edge. It's not at the cloud because it has to be solved in a millisecond. Once you get that, all the sensors get together in a different location, different timing, and then glued together, which is aggregation through today's 4G or 5G network because everything is digitized. So the challenge is not anymore the speed, it's not transmission, it's the security, but also the aggregation and correlation of it, right? Because think about it. What is moving in a city or in any environment from port, railway, everything, right? Thing is moving, that's normally what we measure, regardless as to what. It's people, it's traffic, it's vehicle, it's vessels, whatever. So those, whenever it's moving, or even the factory, it's generating something related to carbon dioxide, and then related to heat. So everything we monitor has to be accountable to part of the emission. So that we take a measure. So you measure everything together and then track the stuff, then you will know, might be able to know where the source is. And then Give you example, in highway, we got a very interesting question or problem to solve, and then we solved that. They say, okay, we got this section highway. It's very foggy or it's very smoky. They don't know because all the way from when you're sitting in a car, you just see a lot of smoke, right? But it could be the fog, it could be the anything because the pressure, air pressure, whatever, or it's just because of the smoke. So by looking at, you don't know, but you have to test it, you have to look at it, and then moving together, then you figure out, oh, that's the problem. So from there, you track another thing, just keep tracking. So we've been encountering is like to understand the entire environment, the infrastructure, and then bring all the ecosystem partner coming in from hardware, from chipset, from computing powers, either as a CPU or accelerator, and then all the way to the platform, regardless if you're Intel, AMD, NVIDIA, Qualcomm, MTK, you name it, right? Because everyone has a different devices, different platform, but all the data has been generated already over there, and then you combine it, and then the speed is different, and the data format is different. Then you aggregate it, then you try to solve the problem, use the big data analytic, and then understand the timing, object, and the location. So we bring everything together. It's like back in the loop again, because the more you look into, the client will ask you more questions, because client wants to see the data. My experience is normally 1 or 2 months, they see the result and say, hey, Dr. Ko, we wanted that, we want the other one. We say, oh, I have to scratch my head. Oh, that's a new problem. So how do we solve it? And then we use different platform, connected, see the different internet work. And then we don't want to see the network. We want to see the digital transformation flow, and then to see where they're coming from, location, timing, time sequence, and everything to understand, because you kind of recover what happened as the storyboard of every project on the location and the timing. So that's what we've been encountering. We've been pretty successful on different showcase, all the way from city, transportation, airport, all the way to ocean. And people more and more is looking at us as like a problem solver. It's not just a solution provider. So normally they talk to us about their business issue, what they want to do in the next 5 years. Even they talk about it 20 years later, but they want to start from now, building the background and then building it. So my kind of interpretation about the digital city toward net zero, I don't think anybody's going to say, oh, next 3 years we're going to net zero. No way. So you're going to see the problems, say, for 20 years, but you have to lay down the older infrastructures for digital transformation. And then namely, every device has to talk to each other. Every device has to generate data, has to unify real time and solve the problem, and the feedback as a loop. So that's our experience. Glad to share share with you, and I hope I didn't take a lot of time. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I am aware of we are on top of the hour. So can I invite all speakers to give some advice to startups or other companies to answer 2 questions. One is, what are the larger market opportunities you see in these smart cities? And the other is, how can they have the opportunity to work with you? And can I start from maybe James?
Yes, what do you want me to talk about? I hear your question. What do you want me to specifically, because it's a very big question.
One is like in 30 seconds to, on a high level, what are the biggest market opportunities here? And the other is, how can other companies or startups to work with you?
Okay, that's a pretty good question. I think the opportunity there, as I mentioned, and also I find out other speakers emphasize that as well, is talking about the problem solving and solution. we actually, I want to use another term other than the localization, is really smart diagnosis, because we really need to know what the client needs, and we provide using the smart diagnosis to provide a customized solution. So that means this opportunity really is not in one place. We need to know how to collaborate, create a partnership, international partnership, which is very difficult, but that's a blue ocean opportunity for all of us. And to do that, that's why we create, we just formed this Taiwan Smart Solution Association last year to have more than 100 smart solution providers, and also other major trade association as a platform, so we can quickly assemble company solution provider together, including AI, software, and hardware solution provider together, work with our international partners. I think that's a trend in the future, and we are happy to work with all the either investors or solution provider here to approach the international partnership. And just finally, I just came back from Canada. When I talked about Canada with this idea, they really welcome this opportunity, because Canada, believe it or not, last year their total foreign investment into Canada, Vancouver, Toronto, and Ottawa is more than the investment in New York, Boston, in Silicon Valley, believe it or not. So last year was a turning point to Canada. But in any way, I'm just using an example that is Canada is very welcoming to this kind of international collaboration program. I think that's our blue ocean investment opportunity in the future for the smart solution. Thank you.
Thank you. How about Dell's speakers?
John, you want
Manminder and
Oh, yeah, sure. No, I'll jump in. I actually have a very specific answer. So the advice to startups is recognize what you are really good at and continue to do that. Don't try to boil the ocean. Don't try to say that I can do all of these things. When we present about a horizontal plane that we talk about, that's all they do. These are not the IoT engines. They're not the VMS engines or building management or any of the other what I would consider like a vertical plugin, managing solar farms, managing wastewater recycling and reclamation, things like that. But be good at what you do. It could be a smart farm. It could be something on the water reclamation side, and be open to plugging those in. Containerize your development so that you're not locked into, a Tanzu Kubernetes or only AWS or only Azure. Be flexible and open because you're good at what you do. And that's how you'll drive a plug into this more, I want to say, open and scalable framework that allows, the entrepreneurs and the startups to really get involved and plug in and be a contributing part of these smart ecosystems. And then lastly, I guess the containerization, multi-cloud, try not to boil it. And then, the time to market in these cases now becomes much more feasible, as opposed to if you keep trying to do that additional development or these additional functions that go beyond your core, expertise, that kind of puts a challenge in the place, as opposed to what if you just plug into something where somebody else is expert at that and you're not trying to do too much more than what you guys are capable of. Startups really have a big challenge, and there's a great way to go. These types of developments or types of is things that Dell can use, because we've got a lot of partners that do a lot, but they're missing a few things. If you're the expert in that area, I can take you and plug you in, and now you become part of my ecosystem that provides that overall package. So I hope that answered that question, Jessie and Sunny.
Wow, that's great. So startups can just talk to you about details, right?
Well, yeah, no, again, be good at what they do and be able to really be flexible and not say, I'm only AWS, because we don't know. Every government, every project, there is some tendency to lean towards, it could be Azure, it could be Google Cloud Services. It shouldn't matter, and we shouldn't, as entrepreneurs, as startups, get locked into any one thing. Unless that's the mainstay and that's where you start off, but be flexible, because we may be able to plug you into these other environments. So anyway.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Manminder, anything you'd like to add?
Well, I think one of the questions you asked was, where do we see a lot of demand? And from our perspective, where we are focusing at. So I do think for green and sustainable solutions, there's a whole lot of solutions, and the demand is there everywhere. The area we are focusing is how to make not only the cities green, but also the buildings, the campuses, which are large constructs of the city, green. And that's where we are seeing a lot of ask for solutions around that. So that would be a quick and additional input as to what John added also.
Thank you. And Spincer?
Yeah, I always treat myself as a startup, you know, and luckily, I totally agree with John. You have to focus on one thing. So Gorilla is only focused on the Edge AI, on the video analytic and cyber analytic. We're very, very good at that. But for any startup or innovators, my experience is, because I was from there, right? So you got a very good vision, you want to focus something. But when we do, my experience when we do something like that, it's not just creating, is you got to dig it out how you really can plug that stuff into the real world, and then to get the real return investment for the customer at a certain point, and then which can make the value of yourself, right? But everybody can say, you know, innovation, they can say they can do everything, but nobody can do everything, right? So you have to focus on a category which you are good at it, and then you know the vision, because nothing is easy. It might take years to get there. So if it is shorter, you can get it. I think everybody can get it, right? If it is longer, you can get it. That means it's harder. But it's harder. You have to know all the aspects of the tough questions, the real environment, such that you can really plug in. But don't see that as easy, because you just need to focus on one thing to really understand what the real world is, and then how you can really solve that question or problems or issues precisely and accurately. And then so it's not 80%, no, the customer won't take it. 90%, no. 95, 98, maybe. But even you take 98% accuracy, but they're still asking you, no, I want to get more because I have more things I want to do, more insight, because you still have a 2% there. They're very interesting. So those are the things I've been experienced with a lot of startup or innovators in the past, talking to me, and they say, hey, we want to partner with you. And then we see it, we say, okay, hey, that's academic stuff. That's only in a pilot or proof of concept. That's far away from the real world. So my experience, if we really want to attach the world, or this is my world, and to solve the real problem in the industry, in the smart city or prodigals, because don't forget, people have experience, everyone had experience on IT for 30 years, right? And analog is there for decades, years, centuries. So what people really need is to solve the problems or issues they couldn't solve before, and then they want to solve now. The question of issues and problems is very, very sophisticated, and you need a single technology to tap on one thing and then be flexible enough to partner with others and make an ecosystem to solve the problem. Because I don't see anymore a single question, single issue can be solved by a single technology. So that's my so don't try to solve everything, but you just have to focus, and then to really know what the issue is and the problem is, and then to make value of yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Really, I think all companies need to have this kind of conversations. I mean, this kind of network and community, and to know what are those big problems and gaps, and focus to solve the problem. Okay, we will get to two companies to present. I would like to invite all of you to stay with us to watch. They will present each 5 minutes. And the first company is, I'd like to introduce THI, and president of THI Consultants from Taiwan, Ian Lee. And THI is a top leader on smart solutions for intelligent traffic systems, traffic engineering, urban planning, fleet operation and management and more. Let's learn how they use data analytics for lowering emissions.
Okay.
Hi,
Hello.
Ian.
Have you see me? Yeah.
Yes.
I share
You can
my
share screen. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, share my screen. Okay, thank you. Let's talk about how the action in transportation, because THI is the professional transportation consultants in Taiwan, and but the THI not only in transportation planning and engineering, we also do some about in ITS, big data analysis, and then we also have two bus station to operation, because we want to more know about the behavior with the mode and the human. So we also do many just analysis in modeling and the simulation. This is our major clients and partners. Okay. What do THI do in transportation about the net diesel? One is we have to do the emission estimate model, and 2 and 3 we also we are focused about the behavior in vehicle and the public transport, and then we also in the emission monitor for environment department. In the past, in environmental department, use the grid base to estimate the fuel usage and estimate the emission. So, but we know the car will drive one city to another city. So actually, if we use the link-based estimate method, it will be more correct. So we also use the CVP data, the signal data, and the demand model to estimate the all road emission. And we also focus about the vehicle behavior. We use the AI technical to analyze the vehicle start parameter, and using and we have the simulation model with the driving car and the others roadside data to estimate how to reduce the emission. And we also focus about the public transportation. We have one platform, we call it Spincer, the Smart Bus Operation Management System. And you know, every bus line have a driver in the same line and the same road. So we can analyze the driving behavior to know the driver, what the driver is not real good. So we can training the driver and to reduce the fuel. And yeah, this is I say. And we also focus on emission monitoring. So it's not only in the road and also in the Taipei port. So THI is focused about the behavior. So we are more want to analyze the behavior to get some role and to reduce the emission. Thank you.
THI has over 100 clients in Taiwan and Asia area, right? In private and public departments.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Any question for THI or advice from all of our participants and speakers? Feel free to unlock yourself if you like to talk or ask question.
So maybe just to understand, THI provides this solution globally, or is it focused in Asia market? Could they share a little bit more on that? Which markets they address?
I'm answering for Ian, but I know they are looking to extend to global market and through strategic partnerships. So it would be great to work with Dell or other strategic partners in local market or global market.
Sure. We'll definitely connect on that. Thanks.
Great, great. Thank you. I can do some introduction after this meeting. And any other question?
I would encourage Ian to ask. I mean, you know, we started this track originally called Share and Ask, which means we're bringing startup founders to present their company, but more importantly, you know, tell us how we could help. So it's not like, you know, a judging kind of situation where, you know, asking you questions so you have to answers. We could do that, you know, ongoing discussion. I felt like it's almost like if you have a wish list, what would be the item on the wish list so that Born Global community could support you down the road? Like what is your asking?
What do my asking? Yeah. I don't really know how to answer this question. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Usually we don't talk like that. We we present, we pitch, but we don't ask for help. And you know, here we want to encourage everybody. Hey, how could we help? Like, you know, what would you wish you have right now? Of course, capital, partnership, corporate. You know, I'm just throwing a few things.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, maybe Sunny, I can share because I've been working with THI a lot, and most recently collaboration I've been working with TSI is actually intelligent implementation project in Ankara and Turkey. Okay, because Taiwan really is very advanced in smart mobility, intelligent transportation systems, smart bus, a lot of things like Ian present in his presentation. However, the one particular thing is that Taiwan market is pretty small comparatively, right? And so they are working so hard, but they don't have too many customers with their brilliant solutions. I think that's why Gorilla is going public to go to the world, right? And but however, Gorilla is providing an AI solution that can go to the world. But as a consulting firm with a specialized ITS and AI solution and transportation like a THI, it's not very easy to go public to the world. So they have very great solution. I think what we can help them, that's what I've been trying to do. We know the international market because a lot of city like, for example, the Cebu, the second largest city in Philippines, they are going to develop a smart city. They want to develop a light rail. They want to develop all kinds of modern transportation system like Singapore. But can they do that themselves? Of course not, right? That's why we can bring THI with their solution to work there. So again, THI really simplify that what we're talking about, the international collaboration business model, they cannot do their own. And we need to know what THI has, the solution, and we know where the international customer are. Then we can bring that together because again, all the solution work in Taiwan need to customize to work with the local partner to make it work in other international city. I think that's what we have the great opportunity. We have the opportunity in the international market. Finally, like for example, Ottawa, when I talk to the federal, state, and local agency from Canada, and they say, wow, if you can help us using Taiwan smart bus stop and smart ITS to help to improve Ottawa buses, and that will be great contribution for you. So I think that is where we can connect the dots together to bring the smart solution, not only from Taiwan, but from the smart solution provider in the panel here and to the international market. I think that's what we can help them.
Thank you so much, James. I really like today's conversation. I'd like to invite all of you to join our Slack channel to continue the discussion. Okay, we have one more company. I'd like to introduce Bryce Chiao, founder and CEO of a machine learning startup called Remar. In one sentence, new software architecture accelerates machine learning computing by 10 to 50 times and reduce cost and emission by 50%. That's how I describe what he is doing. And on top of this core capability, Bryce's team is also working with government agencies to build smart city digital twins now. Hi, Bryce.
Okay, thank you for introducing us. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, you saw it? Yep. Okay. Let me go quicker and bring you to the topic for the GIS loves the AI. Okay, because as the Jessie introduced, we are doing the AI deep learning and infrastructure for the the AI protecting is accelerators for 10 to 50 times. But we need some stuff to represent how fast as our platform. So we choose the smart city to be a good topic that represent how AI can be faster. Okay, how coincidence the THI in these 4 levels of the geospatial intelligence, he's in the top. Okay, his traffic system is geography management. Okay, so I have my platform to do for geography visualization and the decision design. Okay. So the geospatial intelligence advantage. So we can do air pollution detections and traffic jam detections. Yeah, with an excellent map. Okay, we can do some city design, the daylight and night vision. Yeah. Even we can do game design in the real scene, yeah, for using AI to calculation and acceleration to the computing power for the 3D for the 3D models. Okay, so that's city management with AI. So you can know the power utilization, electric utilization for this city. Okay, so what can we do? How can we do this? Use the power of AI. Okay, so this is our supercomputing platform. So we can do 3D models or infrastructure or the visualize map very quickly. Okay, even we can do 100 kilometers square in our supercomputing power. Build up those 3D models for 24 days. Okay, and just only use 100 computing node. Okay, So we can do intelligent repair system for if the 3D models can some pictures broken. Yeah, we can repair it automatically. Okay, we can do the one-on-one city level digital twins, and you can use a 360 degrees and IoT data access and cloud or private. Okay, those platform advantage. Okay, this for automatic 3D map production is for no need to repair, no need to human engagement. Yeah, that will be do level 1 like this. And this is for real case. Okay. And if we do more and more engine to do renders, yeah, it can be do ultra high resolution scene. Okay. And we also have open platform, so you can do some retail introduce or the other things. Yeah. Okay, you can see the cities or outside or inside. Yeah, this is for introduce for community. And you can introduce the house for the retail. Okay, this is for the the metaverse map application. Okay, this use the AR with and VR, so it's a mixture reality. So you can bring the hosts and the scenarios. Yeah, so you can do the metaverse level introduce the facility. Okay. Thank you. I go very quick.
Very good.
Question sometimes.
Their core IP is so-called granulation of machine learning, GPU granulation.
Yeah.
So that's the secret why they can speed up the machine learning computing by 50 times.
Yes.
It's like put 1 year computing into 1 week. And because this 3D modeling computing is computing intensive, so on top of this core IP, they can do this quickly. Yes. Any question for Bryce? So Bryce is also looking for strategic partnership in global market, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Actually, Bryce is have this developed this IP from when he was working in Europe, including CERN, and then he now founded this company in Taiwan at 2020. And already doing a lot of projects with private clients and also cities.
Yeah, but we are not brand new. We're almost 3 years old.
We have a gorilla, 23 years old, and still call himself startup.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
And I think THI is also like a startup too.
Yeah, that's okay. keep our mind younger, right?
Okay, I think it's time to wrap up, and we can continue the conversation in Slack, or I will do some email introductions. Sunny, would you like to wrap up this meeting?
Yeah, thank you so much, Jessie. I really enjoyed the discussion. I felt like every speaker brought very unique perspective from both corporate and startup settings, and you are all very right in the sense that we need to really focus on solution and not just technology. In fact, that's really one of the biggest gap. And we also talked about silos and segmentation. That's exactly why we are motivated to bridge gaps and close all kinds of divides, whether it's from lab to market, cross-border culture, or from technology to commercialization, from startup to corporate partners. So that's exactly why we are doing this. And I think, Jessie, also thanks to you for leading the climate tech track. We definitely would love to continue the discussion, because one thing we realized that when we're in Zoom, it's fantastic, right? We're all syncing in at the same time, regardless of where we're located. Our mind waves are, stimulating each other's thoughts. But then when you close Zoom, you lose everything. It's almost like the chats are gone, the people are gone. So we definitely want to encourage ongoing discussion and ongoing collaboration. This is a fantastic start. As I always emphasize, when we end a session, it's never the end. It's actually a start of greater collaboration and deeper discussion ongoing. So Jessie is going to make individual introductions, but I also would love to invite everyone, including speakers and participants, startup founders, and all of our ecosystem partners to join Slack. And we have started a climate tech channel. Of course, there are other channels where you could ask for help, you could introduce yourself, connect with others. We're really building a truly global and very inclusive ecosystem. Of course, both foreign-born and native-born. I'm based in Houston, Texas, the most diverse city in the United States. Jessie's not too far from me in Austin, and Texas is definitely booming. We welcome everybody to join us in person down the road when we host our annual event, for example, Born Global Summit. And we look forward to staying in touch with everyone and exploring deeper ways to collaborate going forward. I think, Jessie, you could also announce the, mark the date for everyone to join us at the next discussion in the climate tech. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you all around and staying in touch. Thank you.
Yeah, we plan to meet the second Wednesday of each month. And you're welcome to apply to present or suggest topics or speakers. And yeah, thank you for all your time, and let's keep connected. Thank you.